Jason Liversidge from East Yorkshire is almost completely paralysed by advanced motor neurone disease, but he's taken on some incredible challenges. He's climbed Snowdon in his electric wheelchair and he's abseiled down the side of the Humber Bridge. But now he's set his sights on abseiling 100 feet down into the UK's largest cave system. Joe Makel was with him and his young family on his latest adventure.
Skill, courage and physical endurance, they're all needed for caving. So for someone as disabled as Jason Liversidge, the idea of potholing deep beneath the Yorkshire Dales might seem an impossible goal. Jason has advanced motor neurone disease. His mind's alert, but his body's deteriorating. 5 years on from diagnosis, he's now almost completely paralysed. His lungs are weakened and he sometimes needs a computerised voice to help him speak. But he is going caving.
It's important to push boundaries within the correct manner. I push myself on a daily basis because otherwise I get bored, and to me that is when you give up.
But this is quite an undertaking. This is where he's heading, Lancaster Hole, one of the entrances to Ease Gill, part of the UK's largest cave system. There's a drop of more than 100 feet, and cavers have to squeeze through a narrow pothole barely big enough for one person. This will be especially difficult for Jason, and not just physically.
To be honest, I am not a fan of small spaces, but this was Liz's idea. We are fairly competitive, so we do not like to be beaten by each other.
He's always been a really determined, motivated and positive person, and I think just because his body is now broken, it hasn't changed who he is in his head.
That's you.
Can it flip me to Mummy?
Yeah, look, this one's for Mummy.
And this will be a family adventure. They're all going, including daughters Poppy, who's 5, and Lily, who's 6. They'll be some of the youngest cavers ever to enter Lancaster Hole. None of this would be possible without expert help. The family's being supported by the Bendrig Trust, a centre near Kendal which specialises in giving disabled people access to outdoor activities.
I like to see the joy on people's faces. I like the things that people say. You know, I didn't believe I could do that. You've made the impossible possible.
3, 2, 1.
Dave will guide the family through their descent. He's been making sure they have the right harness to support Jason's weakened body. And he's even worked out a way to enable Jason to control part of the abseil on his own.
The handle normally finishes about here, and it's just been extended, and in this instance we'll probably clip Jason's hand to it, so he can just with that much movement, he can control his descent.
The following day, members of the Red Rose Caving Club and staff from Bendrig are at Lancaster Hole early, building and testing the rig.
I've taken people in chairs and people who are disabled down quite a lot of caves, but this is a first as far as I'm aware, getting someone who's struggling as much as Jason into something like this.
Jason's getting ready too, clearing his lungs. His respiratory consultant has asked him to take a ventilator into the cave with him. The depth could affect his breathing.
He's doing well. He needs a cough assist because he's coughing a lot and he's choking on things a lot.
The pothole's on private land, but the caving club's gained special permission to access it, and Jason's all-terrain chair copes well. He used it last year to get to the top of Snowdon. He's also abseiled down the Humber Bridge, but this is his first big challenge with his daughters.
It means a lot to have them there, and it is fantastic that they can participate in the whole event. Both of them are like me and not scared of much.
His own father died when he was 12 and his sister was 6, and his sister doesn't really have any memory of the dad. And I think Jason was really worried that that would be the case with our girls, so I think that just gives him the fight to keep going.
There it is, Lancaster Hole.
Poppy and Liz are coming down.
They're on their way, but the tight squeeze at the top is proving a problem already.
It's when we get to that narrow bit and we couldn't get down, we were too fast.
The team pull them back up and rearrange their harnessing.
You're going under your mum.
After that, their descent runs smoothly.
That's really good. Hello, Poppy.
Look at this.
That's pretty good.
This is amazing.
It was a bit scary.
Yeah.
Exciting.
A long, long way down.
With Liz and Poppy safely down, Jason's asked to go next. He wants to watch Lily come down from within the cave.
Okay, everyone.
Step forwards.
He's coming.
I'll keep you in position.
If any consolation, Jason, it's a lot easier coming back up, for you anyway. There is a tail of the climbing rope on his back.
It's a slow process to help Jason manoeuvre through the tight entrance.
So what's happening is Dave's descending underneath him about 6 inches at a time to get him through the restriction.
OK, lower Jason, please.
OK, ready to lower?
Lower.
So because of the position of the harness that we've put him in, he's in very much a seated position. But because it's a narrow shaft, Dave's underneath him and he's having to sort of push his bum upwards to make him more upright to squeeze him through the gaps.
Are you still comfortable, Jason?
Yeah. I can't believe we're doing this for fun.
Jason's through to a ledge where Dave is transferring him onto a second rope with the modified abseil device. Jason really wants to control the descent himself.
Once we've got you set up, we'll get Jenny close by.
I'm sort of back up, so if he needs help or anything, he will give me a big shout and then I can go down and help him. And this pulley system that he's gone down initially, we can clip him back on.
Dave, it's time to go steady. We're coming up to the ledge.
How's that? Are you able to pull on there? Not yet. OK, Jenny, so a little bit shorter again.
But there's a snag. Jason's trying to pull the lever down, but he's not moving.
You put my other hand on my hand.
Put the other hand.
Dave, Jenny and Jason are all trying to find a solution.
Because it's such a long rope, and so we've got to pull harder to activate it.
Even with Jenny's help, it's not working. Jason can't abseil independently. They need to switch back to the pulley, and those at the surface will lower him down.
We're going to swap back over, continue with a lower.
Now Jason's descent is straightforward, but it's taken nearly an hour.
Mother, no, mother.
Do you mean the length of time, or do you mean how long it took to get down?
Mother, no.
I was really anxious about getting through the squeeze, knowing how tight it was and how difficult it was for me and Poppy to get through.
Are they down over?
We are all on the floor, over.
They'd hoped the whole family could explore, but time's against them, and the cavers at the surface have concerns.
Dave, the weather is coming in, mate.
They want to get Jason back up. But the girls still have a little time to look for fossils and play.
It's like moisturiser.
The team of cavers have achieved a first, getting someone as paralysed as Jason down here.
We're in Easgill, bottom of Lancaster Hole, part of the biggest caving system in the country, and that's definitely a success.
Keep going.
Back on the surface, there's time for the family to reflect on the day and the people who've helped them.
It was a rather epic family adventure, somewhat maybe underestimated, but
I am bird now. I'm winning another ball. And possible.